All right, guys, we are back on the Kevin and Fred show, and today I'm so excited for this one because believe it or not, while our guest Miss Chelsea Wright is a dear friend of mine, she's also been one of the harder guests to book, and so I am so excited to finally be able to record this podcast. And for those of you, which is literally everybody except for Chelsea that don't know, that was kind of a little inside joke, because literally had to convince her and ask a few times to do this podcast. And so I'm super excited for this. And I'm just gonna say, welcome, Chelsea. How are you?
No, thank you so much. I am so excited to be here. And I'm grateful that you didn't give up.
Never, never, never.
Yeah.
You're way too awesome of a person for me to give up on. So
No, thank you.
that I'm excited for this. So Chelsea, let's do this. For the listeners that do not know you yet, give us a little where are you at? Like geographically located for your business, and let's give us like a little, just a brief overview, not too many details. You and I will kind of go off on a few different rabbit trails as we go further into the conversation though.
Cool. So I am in Portland, Oregon, and I absolutely love it here. I am never leaving. So if you have any commentary about Portland, keep it positive, y'all. As far as business goes, I've been in the real estate industry for 6+ years. If there is a job in this industry, I've probably done it. So I have a very diverse background, and that has led to the three businesses that I've built. We have Prosper Real Estate Group. We serve from Seattle, Washington to Salem, Oregon. And then we have RenegadeTC, which is a transaction management company. And also this year I launched Variant Coaching. And so I help small business women design their unique version of success and use strategic business decision making and different tools to level up. So that's me.
So you just have like a couple things going on, nothing big.
You know, honestly, Kevin, like the thing that I've been telling people to keep it more simple is like I'm an entrepreneur and real estate is the vehicle that I drive.
Yeah, I love that. That's the thing about real estate is we get to choose whether or not it's a sales job or if it becomes a business, and then we can still behave. We could actually create a business and still behave like a salesperson in it, or we can have the mindset and thought process of a business owner or entrepreneur who really just uses this as the vehicle. I love that because I've definitely never been able to word it like that succinctly, but I feel the same. And so that's super awesome. I love that you do that. So you mentioned you've done like basically every job in real estate. Give us a little like brief history of some of the different roles that you've filled. And then we'll kind of talk more about what the three businesses you have going on today.
Yeah, so my entry to real estate was really unique in that it was right when all of the bigger teams were figuring out ISAs and creating call centers. So I was hired on as a telemarketer. I did that for about 3 months, and then I was a buyer specialist. And in my first year, I did 28 homes sold. And that call center time was really foundational because it taught me how to listen. It taught me how to really, instead of like listening to react or respond, like have time to connect with people and see red flags and like plan before, so that
Oh
was
yeah.
really cool. Also, I was a transaction coordinator for a minute. And then I became the director of operations. And there was really when I realized how much problem solving goes into the real estate industry and how much building a business is universal. And there's like universal truths to every business that you're scaling, whether that be how to market or how to brand or how to train or how to lead. And so that was a big part of my career journey, was scaling a company from 37 agents to over 250 in less than 2 years. And so that was really cool. And then I decided to become a solo agent and build a sphere-based business, a referral-based business. And this last year, I decided that you can't go far alone. So I built a team and and launched Renegade and launched Variant Coaching, and here we are.
Gosh, so you really have. I mean, you run the gamut of different roles inside of a real estate organization. That is for sure. Um, what so real quick, you talked about, so you guys are on the real estate, I'm gonna call it the residential real estate side. So you're servicing all the way from Seattle to Salem, you said. So that's like Seattle, Portland, Salem. What, I mean, how have you done that so fast? What, how does that even come to pass for you?
So I think that the biggest thing was that my experience scaling the last large team that I was on showed me that there really isn't anything that you can't do if you're willing to learn. Everything can be learned. Most things are Googleable. And so it's just true.
So
It's so
true.
true. And so for me, the intention wasn't so much to have a huge team that spans the Pacific Northwest. It was more about being really selective about who I partnered in business with. And so those partnerships came very naturally, and that's why we are where we are.
That's awesome. And when you think about that side of your business on the real estate sales side, what are, I mean, what are your vision? What's your vision for that? Like, where do you see that going? What, and I don't necessarily just mean numbers, although if you want to share numbers of like goals or whatever, please do. But I mean, kind of like, what's your bigger overall vision for that business?
So my vision for Prosper Real Estate Group is to create a company that has a vision so big that other people's visions fit inside of it. Real estate fully changed my life. I grew up super poor, not in a fun, cute way. And real estate taught me what it meant to be a business owner. It taught me how to be financially independent. It taught me so many different valuable lessons in self-development. And so my goal is to build a business that is so big that other people can grow within it.
That's awesome. I love that because if you don't, I remember I mean, I've had this conversation in one form or another, probably a thousand different ways, but just a couple days ago, I was talking to an agent who is they're making a significant change in their business right now. And one thing that she said to me is, I realized in this particular environment that I have, I'm I'm capped by somebody else's lack of vision.
Yeah,
And their lack of vision should not determine how far I can go. And we've heard that, but it was like, that was raw because it was just in a conversation with someone, like really just trying to talk to them and help them through something. And you realize like that does really happen. And sometimes we don't realize it. We could actually be really what looks like success. We could have something that maybe is even more successful than what we ever imagined we can do. And there are still cases where that is not enough for someone else. Like if you do a good job at that, you will attract people, and eventually one or more of those people will think, well, that's cool, but like hopefully this isn't the end point because I need to do more. And if we got
yeah.
to be that vehicle, right? We've got to be able to show that they can get to wherever they're going with our assistance.
Well, and I love that you bring up that like sometimes the version of success that we have planned isn't the authentic success that we are purposed for.
Yeah.
Like, yes to all of that, because when I was working in the more corporate side and working for someone else, I thought I had hit success. I had the big title, I had the authority, I had all of these things that I was building and scaling and doing, and were gaining notoriety, but I was miserable, fully miserable. And what I realized is that I had created a settled identity. I had created this version of myself that was just enough. And so when I went and started working for myself, I had to like really identify where I started fighting for my minimums and like not fighting for my maximums.
Yeah.
And so within the last year, I've been creating a new identity, and it's not easy and it sounds very cool, but let me tell you, it is uncomfortable to like look yourself in the mirror and to face your hard truths and to end relationships, begin new relationships, and to just like live authentically. And it's why so few people do it, you know?
It's hard. Like
Yeah.
it, like, and I mean, shit, everything in life is hard, right? We all get to choose our
Yeah.
hard, right? You can
You choose.
choose, yeah, you can choose learning great money habits, or you can, and that's hard, or you can choose to see how hard it is when you have none. Or, same thing on health habits and mental health habits and relationship habits, all that. Like it's hard no matter what in business and in life. But we get to choose we get to choose which hard we go through. But that is, that's funny. So few so few people really will take the time to examine it and then, gosh, take a step backwards, because the direction that they're going just isn't just not really going to get them where they really want to go. Like I think you just called it like their authentic vision, right? Or
Right.
where they really could see themselves going. It's hard because we've worked our way up a mountain so far. And maybe we're halfway up the mountain or three quarters of the way up the mountain, and we realize in order, like, oh shit, we're on the wrong mountain. And in order to go up the other mountain that I truly, really want to be on, that means I got to go all the way down to the bottom. And
Right.
that's hard for most of us to swallow, for most of us to like really think through. So that's one of the things I love about you, Chels, like as your friend who gets to talk to you off camera and when we're not recording it for the masses, but is that you've been willing to do that. That's something I value in people, that they're willing to go, yeah, I did this, but maybe it wasn't the right move, or I'm really having to reevaluate this or that. And which means I've got to now work better, different, harder on another part that I didn't maybe know was as important before.
Yeah, and I think that you bring up a really good point is that like in order to integrate those changes, there is a level of forgiveness that comes with the awareness. Like you have to kind of give yourself grace for climbing that far up the mountain, the
Yeah.
wrong mountain, if you will. Because
Yeah.
in life, I mean, it sounds very cliche, but like I truly believe that there are no failures, there are just lessons. But sometimes lessons hurt, you
Yeah.
know?
Sometimes
And
it
so,
sucks.
yeah,
Sometimes it
sometimes
sucks.
like it's a little painful. And so I think that finding grace and forgiving yourself is so important. And to add on to like just this theme, the thing that I'm learning through creating a new identity and severing, with my minimums is that what is of the highest good for me is of the highest good for everyone around me.
Yeah.
And that I think was a really tough thing to learn. And how I saw it played out was just like creating boundaries with people I love. And oftentimes, when you think about boundaries, you think of them as like this wall or this stop or this like, I don't like that behavior. So this is how we're going to deal with it. And the truth about boundaries is that boundaries aren't for other people, they're 100% for you.
Yeah.
And if implemented correctly, they are a bridge, not a wall.
Yeah.
And so just doing that too has been so eye-opening because I'm seeing the people I love thrive and be more alive and be more independent and be more true to themselves just by modeling my own authenticity.
Yeah. I think the number one thing that we can do for those closest to us is for sure be ourselves.
Yeah.
Be like who we really are, not the role that we think we have to play in our family or in whatever dynamic we're talking about, our friend circle or whatever, but to just really be who we are. Um, what I've noticed over, because I've definitely been the guy to most of the time kind of march to the beat of my own drum as well, and sort of do what I want and not really care about like whatever the norms are. And while I've taken my fair share of like, criticisms for that, I've also had so much, and I've gotten so much out of people just saying like, hey, you doing that like showed me that I could do this, and it helped me to dig in maybe more on this other thing. And so I'm a big believer, and that's one of the number one things we can do for people we care about is to just truthfully be ourselves.
Yeah.
And I say that, I don't mean that like so we're selfish and we hurt other people. I just mean so we're like genuine, authentically ourselves and not who we think we need to be to fit that other person or group of people.
Yeah. Amen.
So let me ask you this, because you also talked about coaching and I just, again, I know part of the story. So I'm probably not asking as good of questions as I should be since I know you as well as I do. But so part of your process is you've gone through a lot of what you're talking about over the last, couple of years. You started to develop like coaching and helping other people do that. Where was the desire for that? Where did that come from? Or has it always been there? And
Yeah.
what has that process been like? Because it's one thing to go and live it yourself. It's a whole other thing to go, I can live this, but I can also bring some others along with me and maybe help them kind of guide them the right, in a similar direction.
Well, to be completely honest, I've always wanted to do it. When I first was with Keller Williams, I immediately enrolled in Bold. And it was a program that genuinely changed my life. And I saw like the public speaker on stage moving people to tears and helping people crush their goals and just like being in this space of encouragement and support. And I was like, I want to do that someday. And it was on my list for a really long time of like being a public speaker and coaching people. And that was like the thing that I wanted to do. And then I got distracted. I decided that scaling businesses was what I wanted to do more. I decided that launching my own businesses was my priority. And so it took me a long time to come back to this gift that I have of coaching. And when I was on that larger team, I would coach sales. So I taught them how to integrate scripts. I would coach the leadership team on weekly calls. And so I remember that being really fulfilling. And I remember it was like the happiest I had been, was like after coaching somebody and watching them integrate and like execute and seeing like the light click, and just like it gives me the most joy. And for many years I resisted it. I don't know why. I think that like you see real estate coaches and you're like, those who can't teach,
Yeah,
right?
that happens a
And
lot.
I was just like, man, I just like don't want to be that. And so I didn't do it for a really long time. And then I'm a big believer in signs and the universe. And so y'all are just going to really get to know me today. I kept getting messages in my DMs from people being like, you should be a life coach. You should be a business coach. Can I sign up for a one-on-one? Would you mentor me? And I was like, that's right. That's where my joy is. My joy is in helping other people be their better selves. And so I launched it in July around my birthday. And I have not looked back. Like my crew that I'm coaching right now has achieved so much in 3 short months. Like one girl went from doing like a $65 product-based business to $2,500 gigs, got a book deal, got cast on a Food Network. Another girl just found a multi-million-dollar investor for her nonprofit, quitting her toxic day job. Another one of my real estate clients doubled their income. Like we're making moves and the work works. And so it's just, I love it. I love it. I love it.
That's
It's what
awesome.
fires me up.
So I think I heard you say like this is not just for real estate. So you're coaching people obviously inside real estate, but also people that are doing other businesses, entrepreneurial pursuits outside of real estate.
Yeah, I think that there are universal truths to business and there's universal
Yeah.
truths to self-development. And it doesn't need to be just about real estate. And I think that for me personally, like I'm an entrepreneur at my core. And so to only serve the real estate community feels shallow. And there's so much to be gained from stepping outside of your industry and seeing how other people are running their businesses, that like that's always been important to me. So like my office is in a building with just other entrepreneurs. Like we're not in a brokerage. Like we like hang out with other entrepreneurs all day, every day. And so like that's really cool. And that's what I'm into.
I love
Yeah.
that. I think it's important. I definitely think that's an important part of our business to look outside of just it's because it's so easy, especially in real estate, I think, for us to just kind of get a get around other realtors and other real estate agents who think and act way too similarly to the way we are, and it kind of, whether we realize it or not, intentional or not, that kind of closes the walls in, and it limits what we can see and do.
It creates a vacuum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Definitely creates a vacuum. Okay, so tell me more about the coaching. So it's what, like, tell me who is this for? So I know, and I say that not meaning just like real estate or non-real estate, but like if someone showed up to your website or heard you speaking, listened to this podcast, etc., like who is likely to be the go person to go, yeah, that's probably where I need to be talking to about my next level.
Yeah. So something that's like really interesting about working with me is that I only open up so many spots every quarter. And so the next launch that we're doing is on October 15th. And I have exactly 13 spots now for this program. And essentially, you have to be a woman. Sorry about it. But like, there are plenty of men things. Like, y'all
There's
can
a
do
ton of
whatever.
guy groups. It's okay. You're allowed to do
Yeah,
that.
you're fine. So it's women led. And the biggest thing is that you need to have an established business. So we're not working with people who are just launching, like that's not our MO. You need to be able to commit to 4 hours of coaching work per week because we have like pre-work, we have the call, and then we have like an execution hour. So it's a pretty significant time commitment to work with us. And then the last thing is that you need to have done some self-development before. So this is not your like intro to self-development. This is like, we're talking about meat and potatoes. We're talking about like higher level concepts. And so if
Yeah.
you are just learning about gratitude, like this is not you. This is not it. If you're just starting a business, also not you. Love you. We'll maybe do something for you in the future, right? I'm not going to say no to that, but this is for experienced business owners who are ready to like integrate some more strategic decisions in their business and learn higher level concepts to scale.
Gosh, I love that. Where's the best place for people if they want to learn about that? Where should they go?
I'm a true millennial, so Instagram. If
Yes.
you go to at Chel Wright, so CHELWRIGHT, you can find all my businesses and you can find testimonials and you can find all sorts of info.
That's awesome. All right, we'll put
Yeah,
that in the show notes too, for anybody who's like driving and doesn't have a place to write that down right now.
I know,
Um,
right?
all right, Chelsea. So as we start to wrap up, um, is Instagram the best platform for people to catch up with you at, whether they're interested in coaching or not? Like, is that the
Yeah,
spot?
that's where I live.
Okay,
So, and I know that that can be like alienating to some, but I mean, it's where my energy is.
it's
So,
welcoming to others though, so it's okay.
exactly. Yeah.
That's right. We can all listen. It's all a choice. We all get to choose. And for anybody that's alienating to, like, I don't think it's alienating. It's just like it's actually just pre-qualifying. So
Yeah. Well, and I have one last thing to pop off on.
yeah,
So I heard the other day, this reminds me, I heard the other day somebody called social media social mediocrity. And I was like, maybe for you.
yeah,
Here's the thing in life, this is a truth. What you focus on is what your reality is. And quite literally, social media is an algorithm that serves you up the content you desire most. So if you're engaging with social media or you have this like mindset of like, it's just not for me, then that's what you're going to get. You're going to get negativity. You're going to get shallow posts in your feed. You're going to get, humble bragging. You're going to get all these things because they are a reflection of you. So get on Instagram and like choose wisely. You know what I mean?
100%. And it's funny because I definitely have like it's what I'm looking for, love-hate relationship with social media. I actually do really love it, especially at its core, pure, what it's designed for. It's like I never had to learn social media. It was always very, very normal and natural to me because of my personality and who I am. But there's also times where I'm like, oh my goodness, I could really go with that. Like I took Facebook off my phone a year ago. Actually, it's like a year ago this week, probably exactly a year ago today ish, as of this recording, and that's been great. But I also know the power in social media, and I think really the key is becoming a user of it and not used by it, because
Amen.
there is one thing to remember, like to your point. And gosh, I'm actually looking on social media right this second, which I almost never do while I'm recording something, but it's because I shared a very, very similar thought, which is effectively social media and pretty much the entire internet is nothing more than a confirmation bias engine. And one of my mentors, Adam Robinson, taught me that. Like that's literally what he taught me is it's a confirmation bias engine. Now, the tricky part is, so if you don't like what you're seeing, just understand that's it's because of where you're looking.
Right.
Because there are so many good things online too, and at the same time, it we also got to remember, like, these are also being run by the most powerful people in the world, from the standpoint of all they're trying to do is keep your attention on longer and longer, and the way they do that is to actually show you what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So if we don't like what we're seeing, then we got to know that we have full ownership over that, and it's possible to use it without being used by it. And that's what I love is, like, for you, you're using it as a way to connect, and I know that because you and I connect there a lot, so much,
Yeah.
right, on Instagram and whatnot. So totally, I'm glad you took us off on that
Sorry,
rabbit
I
hole
had
there.
to. I was
No, I
like,
love it.
before we not talk about social media, let's talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good. All right, so what, whether it's about the coaching or any of your businesses, really, what didn't I ask you, Chelsea? What should we be talking about, or what are you excited about? Right? Give me one thing that
Ooh,
I should have asked you about, or it's just maybe I didn't even know, but you're something you're excited about right now.
something I'm excited about right now. I think that the biggest thing that I'm excited about right now is I'm reading The Untethered Soul. And it is such a good book. If you have not read The Untethered Soul, I really would recommend that you do. I almost think it's a prerequisite to self development. And so I've been like really interested in the inner dialogue and inner energy and just being really mindful of that. And how it kind of along the lines of social media, how it can be mirrored back to us in our friends or in our family or in the decisions that we're making. And so that's something that I'm really excited about, is like helping people connect with their inner dialogue, notice it, change it, grow with it. Um, yeah.
Love that. I think if you are listening and you like got even a little bit out of what Chelsea's saying, you know who you are, and
And if
she's
you're like, I don't have inner dialogue, that's your inner dialogue. Like that's it. That was it right there.
turns
So
out the only way, here's the next test. If you are alive, you have it, and if you don't, you're not, or if you're not, you don't. So that's
exactly.
always a good way to measure whether or not you actually have inner dialogue. So um Chelsea, thank you for taking the time out today.
Yo, you're the best. This
You
was
are.
so much fun. We gotta, I'm sorry that I waited so long.
I'm
Like,
not. It's okay. Good. It worked out. Like it
yeah,
worked out great. And you guys for listening, go follow my friend Chelsea. Join her coaching or don't. Doesn't matter. You're going to get a ton of value out of her. But I know some of you are really resonating with what she said today, and you're going to want to reach out in regards to that. But I can just tell you, she's an amazing person to know and be friends with. And certainly, I'm thankful for our friendship, Chelsea.